spirited group out there on the plaza. We'll get a chance to meet them in a little while. Welcome back to the early show, everybody. If you ever wanted to vent about a product, you probably never have this. You probably just calm all the time, just measured in terms of responses.
I have you completely fooled, don't I?
Yeah, well, just in case you get frustrated and you bought this thing and you want to get some justice, we're going to tell you who to call. Our Rebecca Jarvis is here with information with some free websites where you can file your complaint and maybe even get some satisfaction.
I love it. Cue the Rolling Stones. And it promises to be the event of the summer. Former First Daughter Chelsea Clinton. We all know she's engaged to be married. The details, though, supposed to be top secret. Well, we've tapped into a source who may have a little classified information we may not supposed to be know. We're going to get some tidbits for you this morning. Could be coming up a little sooner than some people thought. First, though, we do want to get you to these dramatic new twists and turns in the case of Joran van Sloot. Something new every day at this point. CBS News national correspondent Jeff Glor standing by this morning with those details. Hi, Jeff.
Erica, good morning to you. 3 weeks after the murder now of Stephanie Flores, the stories and explanations are coming fast and furious from Joran van Sloot, leaving many to question what is in the 22-year-old's mind, which would not be the first time. A word of caution here, some of the images you're about to see may be disturbing. A Peruvian judge arrived at the infamous Castro prison to interrogate van Sloot about his involvement in the murder of 21-year-old Stephanie Flores. But according to court documents, van Sloot not only refused to discuss his case, but repeated his claim that his original confession was coerced and formally requested it be declared invalid.
He is certainly delaying the process. Right? He's going to fight every battle that he can under Peruvian law. These
graphic crime scene photos obtained exclusively by CBS News show a severely beaten Flores, her body badly bruised, her clothes stained with blood. Investigators claim this surveillance video from the day of the murder shows van Sloot trying to establish an alibi. He leaves the hotel room, returns minutes later, coffee cups in hand, and asks a porter to open the door for him. Peruvian police allege he was hoping the porter would discover Flores' body, allowing van Sloot to claim she was murdered when he went for coffee. Of his confession, van Sloot told a Dutch newspaper, "In my blind panic, I signed everything, but didn't even know what it said." Legal experts say even if that gets thrown out, the case is still strong.
There's a lot of evidence tying him to the room, which was in his name, to the woman he's seen on video with, to the actual scene. So it looks like there could be a case proven even without his statement.
Whatever his legal problems may be, van Sloot at times seems blissfully unaware. A Dutch newspaper is reporting that van Sloot is bragging in prison of all the marriage proposals he's been receiving. Erica?
Slightly disturbing. Jeff, thanks. CBS's Jeff Glor. Joining us now is international criminal defense attorney Dan Conaway. Good to have you with us this morning, Dan.
Good morning, Erica. Thank you.
Twists and turns may be an understatement in this case. So Joran van Sloot formally requested that this confession be declared invalid. Is that really an option?
It is an option. He can challenge the confession, and he can argue that it shouldn't come in. And he's saying that he didn't have proper counsel, that he didn't agree to the counsel that he had. He was represented by a public defender.
Because he did have counsel with him at that moment.
He did. He's just saying it wasn't of his choosing and that he was basically forced into confessing. The problem with that, ultimately, is that even if the confession does not come in, there's still apparently overwhelming evidence. Now, the details are still coming out, but this was a crime of passion, clearly. You can see that from the photographs. And so you add to that the fact that you're going to have probably massive DNA evidence in a situation like that. They already supposedly have a bloodied shirt with her blood on it. And so you put all the DNA evidence together and match it with the circumstantial evidence, him fleeing the scene, the videotape footage. You put all those things together, they don't really need the confession, in my opinion, to convict.
But if he did leave that confession in, it could in some ways help him, correct, by showing that he's actually cooperating, and could that get him a lesser sentence?
It could. And he's really at the crossroads of his defense. Now, at this point, remaining silent yesterday was okay because he can ultimately change it and argue that they're using a legal strategy. But ultimately, if he's going to cooperate, he's going to have to start talking.
You mentioned he could say this is part of a legal strategy. Is there a legal strategy that you see emerging at this point for his defense?
I think
it seems erratic.
I think the best thing his lawyer's trying to do here, if you want to put the best spin on it, is try to get control over his client and say, look, all these statements are flying all over the place about Natalie Holloway, about the situation improve about everything, about whether he confessed, whether he didn't. And so he needs to calm down. He didn't make a statement yesterday, okay. But ultimately, he needs to cooperate, in my opinion. He has an opportunity to get a lesser sentence, and then he could ultimately actually receive parole.
And especially because he could potentially be in this sort of state, in this place in the case for a little while, because the next step in the Peruvian justice system could take a little while, if I understand that correctly.
Yes. The Peruvian justice system has a two-step process, and it was reformed in 2006. So in a way, the Peruvian legal system is kind of in the spotlight right now with this high-profile type case. Right now, they're in the investigative stage. In this stage, the judge acts as the investigator. He's going to gather all the facts and evidence. And then it will be sent over to a tribunal potentially for trial.
Before we let you go, the FBI wants him on suspicion of extortion for potentially trying to extort money from Natalie Holloway's family. What are the chances, based on the potential outcomes of this case, that he could face those charges in the U.S. ultimately?
Well, there's an arrest warrant pending, so the answer is he could. But first he has to survive Peru and Peruvian prison. And that's going to be a real uphill battle. We are talking about terrible conditions. Yeah. He could be killed, malnutrition. You have to have money brought in order just to survive.
No one is giving him very good chances, no matter what that sentence potentially is, if there is one.
I wouldn't.
Dan Conaway, appreciate your expertise this morning. Thanks.
Pleasure.
And here's Dave now with another check of the weather. Mr. Price.
Morning.